It's been an eventful old week in the world of football, and I know what you're thinking. How has it affected Shaka's power rankings? Well, now...
I'll tell you in a minute.
Very badly.
It's a fine out.
In at number 10.
So,
When last have we spoken about Bayern
Wow.
in at number 10?
they won, though, didn't they beat Athens midweek?
Yeah, they did. They beat
right,
Wolfsburg
twice,
before that, but before that they were in a terrible run.
How long are you going back?
Huh?
How long are you going back?
2 weeks.
All right, 2 weeks.
Chelsea. They stay in. Got the
Chelsea?
draw later on against you. Yes, Chelsea.
They're unbeaten.
They couldn't beat United.
They had let go. All that being said, they drop a couple of places. They're in at 9. In at number 8. Porto. Second in Portugal, but top of their Champions League
Oh,
group.
it's a tough group, isn't
Yeah.
it? Really tough group.
They're actually
That's who
third.
they have to play.
They're actually third in Portugal.
In at number 7. And here's the shocker.
Ah.
Ajax. Second in the Eredivisie. Top of Bayern's group. And that's not an easy group.
So why are Bayern in it?
Because they're a point off second in the Bundesliga.
Because they're a point off
And you
Ajax.
know how good Bayern will be. Had their rough spell, they wrote it out, they're hanging in.
a point off
Ajax are
second.
going
So
well.
Bayern are second in the league and second in the group, and they're in the top 10 in Europe. Aye, right.
Liverpool in at 6.
Now,
What?
Now you're beginning
Keep
to make
that,
some
you keep that
sense.
noise up, I'm going to drop them all the way up. Come on down.
Oh, there you go.
Down.
There you go.
In at-
Liverpool 6th. Oh, now we're having a laugh.
Napoli in at 5.
Why?
Because why is that then?
You really going to ask me why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're second in Serie A.
second.
Beat Liverpool
Right.
in the Champions League.
weeks
So they
ago.
get just... They beat Liverpool. Wait a
2
minute to
weeks
tell you.
ago.
Now, Dortmund,
Oh, they're looking
Yes,
good. Dortmund are looking
looking
good. Yeah.
who are looking very, very good indeed.
Yes. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But they're in 4th.
Manchester City.
After their match day 1 flop, they're back to their best.
So this is just Champions League now.
That was me ignoring your own show. Barcelona in at number 2.
Juventus
Same again, Juventus.
Who couldn't beat
in at number 1 this week.
drew at the weekend.
What?
They dropped their first points at the weekend, didn't they?
Big deal. So what?
Oh,
they're
they
still
got
running
beat.
away with Serie A. They're still rumping into the Champions League. Number 1. Thank you very much.
Surely Barca beating Sevilla and Inter is a better achievement than Juve drawing and winning at Old Trafford.
No, it's not.
No?
Juventus are top. They were top last week. Nothing wrong with that.
That is enough of that. Not
Good value.
Bayern.
Good value.
Seriously.
I have no more of this from you all.
Ajax and Porto are there. Thank you very much to Stevie, to Paul, and I suppose.
You're
to
welcome.
Shaka
You're
as
welcome,
well.
Dan.
Did you see this? Because Aubameyang caught him watching himself
Yeah.
score the goals when having a rundown, which I thought was brilliant. And the good thing
Yeah.
is that it leads me to ask you if you ever watched yourself, Shaq. Like,
No.
if you made a great save, would you watch it
No,
again?
well, first of all,
You never made a great.
social media wasn't a thing back in our days, so that wasn't
you
an
still had
issue.
VCRs.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Would you
I-
ever watch a game back?
No, I've not. Other than for Scotland, that would be in a match,
Yeah.
in a team situation where we all kind of look back at the old tapes and whatnot. No,
When Steven Gerrard scored past you in the FA Cup final, you didn't watch that back and think, could I have done better? What did I do wrong? No, I'm not. I'm a dig. I'm intrigued.
No, I didn't, Dan. Thank you very much. Maybe I should now.
No.
It's a bit late now. You're retired, eh?
That was my last game in English football, by the way.
Oh, was it?
Why am I going to watch that back?
Maris,
Correct.
No.
would you watch your goals back?
No,
I would watch them all the time if I had the
No.
chance.
So you
No.
never watched Match of the Day?
You'd never watch Match Today with you scoring.
you know the answer to that, don't you? Where were we on when Match of the Day was on?
We were in the
Yeah, but you
pub.
taped
We were in the
it.
pub.
Yeah, but... Yeah,
We-
but you taped
we
it.
were replanning. Taped it? No.
You'd have no interest in watching.
Oh, there was interest, but only maybe at the end of the season, something like that, when you look back at what you've done or not done.
To put it in perspective, I have never watched the
you wouldn't-
Trinidad and Tobago Sweden game. I haven't watched it back.
That's where you were man of the match. You were outstanding.
I mean, people have kind of shown me little clips, but I have never sat down myself and knowingly pulled that video
Not to
up.
self-indulge, not to.
For nothing. I have never pulled that up myself.
So a better question is, have you ever gone out the way to make sure you watch this?
Yeah, that's it. That's
Right,
it.
that would... I think people of our generation, definitely not. But he's clearly gone out his way.
Well, maybe someone
watch
sent it
himself.
to him. You don't know. As Shaka's saying, it's more accessible now, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, but hey, and you certainly wouldn't make sure you did not do it when any of the other players were around. So he's obviously not shy.
Even though it's accessible, he's sitting there looking at it for a good old time.
Well, I would if I was him.
I know, but to Stevie's point, if somebody sends it and puts it in your face, you have a quick look, you recognize what it is, and you leave. And that's if somebody puts it in your face.
Right.
Even if somebody sent him the link, he is sat there for a while taking it in.
But I don't see that as a problem. I would do exactly the same.
Do you go back home and watch a show?
No, I don't do that.
Exactly. I say, hey, kids, look at Daddy. Look at Dad today. Come.
That's only if they've been bad.
Dan, it's a generation thing.
Yeah, it is.
We would more likely go back and look at the mistakes we made.
Right.
As opposed
So
to...
when you scored a hat-trick against Newcastle, for example, you didn't gather around
No,
for match
I didn't
day?
go. I didn't go out my way to look at it. But if I made a mistake during the game, I would watch it to see whether, number one, whether it was easy to spot,
right,
and B, if I could change something about it. Okay. So our generation was like that.
There seems to be two schools of thought when it comes to Arsenal at the moment. One is 11 wins in a row. Bloomin' heck. Unai Emery has done brilliantly so far.
Yep.
The other school of thought is, well, they haven't played anyone.
Correct.
Former Arsenal striker Paul Mariner.
Look, the first 2 games of the season, they got absolutely annihilated. Wrong system, wrong players in that system, you name it, it looked dreadful. He's adjusted that situation, and you can only beat the teams that you're up against, and that's exactly what they did. But my concern is this, and I think you're right to say they haven't really played anybody. When they have played somebody, they've been beaten. My concern is that defence. I just cannot get over the defence. Going forward with the players that they've got, with the pace that they've got, that 1 and 2 touch football that we saw at the weekend with Leicester, it's breathtaking. It's fantastic. But defensively, they worry me to death now. And they will continue to do so. They played the game today against Sporting. They gave up 13 shots. Now, if you're flying, if you're in sync, if everything's rolling, you don't give up 13 shots to that terrible Sporting Lisbon team. 5th in the league, they're absolutely atrocious. I think they won one game this season in the league. So it wasn't a massive test for them. But my issue always will be this defence.
Let's take a look, shall we, at the fixtures that Arsenal have got coming up. I suppose that's going to be the litmus test as to where we are. But surely you've got to take your hat off to them and say, look, Paul's right, isn't it? You can only beat the teams that are in front of you.
Well, very shortly we're going to get a comeuppance, maybe.
Right.
You know, they're going to play Liverpool, Tottenham. At Bournemouth's not going to be an easy game either. Bournemouth are going well. So after Tottenham,
They've got United as well on the 5th.
yeah, they've got United after Tottenham, but we're not counting Tottenham as United as the top 4 right now, to be honest. So after Tottenham, we will have a better idea of actually where they are. It's very difficult to judge how good they are because of the opposition. And it's not just because it's Arsenal. Any team that would have gone on the run that they had, doing what they had against the teams that they had to, we would be saying the same thing. So it's got nothing to do with it. It's called Arsenal.
Look,
it's just a fact.
For me, credit where it's due. Arsenal, 11 in a row, tells its own story. This is a game about confidence, and Arsenal quite clearly building that, yes, against less opposition. Now, for me, and the concern comes in that we've always known Arsenal have had good players and can put together good performances. And Unai Emery certainly has them playing as well, as you've seen over the last 2 or 3 seasons. But it's about a mentality. It's about when things aren't going your way, when your back is to the wall. Does this team have the necessary backbone? Does this team have the necessary bite it needs to not just get into the top 4, but maybe at some point over the next 2 or 3 seasons, because I don't think it's going to be this one, challenge the teams at the top of the league? I still don't think so. And as good football as we've seen, I just don't feel this team has the bite it needs to really challenge.
I think we do need to give Emery a lot of credit, though, because in Arsene Wenger's last year, Arsenal couldn't beat anybody.
Yeah.
They couldn't beat anybody, regardless of who was put in front of them. Top 4, middle of the table, bottom of the table, they couldn't beat anybody they were supposed to. But at least Emery has got them right now winning those games. So Building blocks.
Napoli dominated this game from beginning to end. Dries Mertens should have made it 3-1 when he got a ball ahead of Areola. They got away with that one. That kept PSG in the game. And only at that point, I felt Neymar, who has the ability to step up and take command of games, that he got himself involved and started running at defenders and started being more purposeful in what he did. And then you saw the best of PSG. But in this competition, against the likes of Napoli, you cannot afford, regardless of how good you are going forward, to be poor at the back and only go at teams in the last 20 minutes.
Let's bring Gab Marcotti into the conversation, who is, of course, a big Tommy Tuchel fan. Why isn't he sorting this out, Gab? Why is he not addressing these issues that everybody can see?
I mean, look, I completely agree on the fact that it's disjointed. Shaka made a great point. Also, the financial fair play and uncertainty has meant that the squad isn't as deep. You know, he's got some very good starters, but even the fact that to find a left back, they had to go and take Bernat from who Bayern offloaded, and who I think is just not a left back, especially not defensively. I think that shows how hamstrung they are. It looked as if they had turned the corner, admittedly in the French league, but the players were working hard for each other. I thought they played much better in the second half after switching to a back three when Thilo Kehrer came on. Maybe that's something that you can build on. But I also think in this game, they were also let down by the fact that we all talk about these fantastic individuals that they have. Two of these fantastic individuals were incredibly poor against Napoli. One of them, Edinson Cavani, who this had been coming for a while. The other one, Kylian Mbappe, who maybe arguably had one of his worst games of the season. So I think we need to throw that into the mix as well. But yeah, I agree. There's a ton of work to be done here.
You know, when I say about defending, I'm not talking about players chasing the opposition, slide tackling, fighting with them, punching them. I'm not talking about that. You know, when you have players like Neymar and Mbappe in particular, you're not expecting them to do that job. That's not what you want them to do. But what you have to do in a team concept, and this is what Tommy Tuchel for me doesn't do, particularly in the Champions League, you ask them to get back into a position. That's all you do. Yep. You don't ask them to fight with him in the body. You say, right, straight away, when we lose the ball, I need you to get back in here so that at least we're tightened up a little bit.
What, Steve,
and that does not happen.
Steve, there's another aspect as well. If you're a top-class footballer and you're thinking about the tactical side of the game, if you're seeing that your mates are basically getting overrun in the middle of the park and you're getting threatened, your goal's getting threatened frequently, would you not think to yourself, I'm going to drop into this hole, I'm going to drop in, I'm going to supplement the middle of the park? I mean, that's the way that I think you should go about it. Maybe I don't know whether these lads are selfish, whether they don't recognise it, or whether they just don't want to do it.
But then that's down to Tuchel. We were talking about Unai Emery, that he couldn't handle Neymar because he was too big for him. And then they brought Tuchel in. So is it just the same old? He's too scared to tell them to get the backside in and pick up a decent spot?
Go on, Gab.
I don't know. Maybe I've been drinking the Kool-Aid. I assure you, it's not like that. I think you guys have really been influenced by the nightmare that was the Liverpool game. I think we're truthful here.
They played a game 2 days ago, and it was the same. It was the exact same, Gab. It was
nothing like that.
You're saying we're being influenced by but this is not the way it is. Well, hold on a second. Whenever you watch a game of football, when you train during the week and when you prepare for a game, you're supposed to see the end of it at the end of the week in the game. And what we're seeing in the game is a team that doesn't defend as a team. We're seeing players with superstar names, with superstar reputations, who will not get back in a position to help out the team. That is a fact. We can't argue with that.
No, but I would argue that the reasons behind it are different. Against Liverpool, you had a front three that simply stayed up there and you almost looked disinterested. I think in this game, what you had specifically from Mbappe and Cavani, Neymar woke up later. He wasn't. I mean, he's got issues too. But those two guys really struggled to get around the pitch, and they faced an opponent in Napoli who are just a very, very clever team, that they had a manager who knows PSG inside out. He knows the culture, he knows the issues, and he was able to go and diffuse them. And the game ended up a draw, and maybe with more luck that they could have won. Maybe if Cavani and Mbappe had shown up to play at the attacking end, leave the defensive end to one side, they would have had more goals. Listen, I'm not going to go and defend PSG, and I'd rather go and lavish praise on Carlo Ancelotti.
That's exactly what you did.
As you know.
You just
But
did.
all I'm telling you is there was a run of games between the Liverpool game and this one, where they actually did play like a team, and their forwards, even the big stars, actually worked hard, and it didn't happen against Napoli.
Hello, welcome to Extra Time, everyone. Paul Mariner is here.
Love that.
Boom.
by the way.
What?
Fantastic.
You love it?
Wearing denim?
I thought about the triple denim today, but I thought against it because
Yeah.
I saw
Good
Thomas
idea.
was on. He abuses Morocco.
Oh, there we go. What we learned today, Stevie's never had a taco,
Yeah, what about that?
and he hates salad. What a shock.
Hey, everybody write in and say what Stevie's appetizer is.
What's the point?
What's the point of salad?
Lettuce.
There's a lot of points.
Taste. That'll tell you. Have you ever tasted tasty lettuce?
Yeah, of course they are.
How's that?
What's wrong with it?
How's lettuce tasty? How's that?
You said have I tasted it? Not. You said have I tasted it? I've tasted it. Yes.
If you say so.
So no salad. Salad's off.
What about tomatoes?
Are you getting there?
We're going to
Beetroot.
list every vegetable.
Oh yeah.
Beetroot.
Beetroot. Love beetroot.
Cucumber.
Me too, I love.
What's the point of that?
Rubbish.
What's the
But
point of that?
Cucumber's rubbish. I agree.
I like cucumber.
Well, you
I
would
like
do.
cucumber. Pickles. Oh, what's the point?
Pickles, guys.
Pickles are horrible.
Breath by the
Salt and black pepper on there. Happy days. Cucumber.
Is Pep wrong for saying Manchester City are not ready to win the Champions League? What does that even mean?
Oh, he's just playing it
He's
down, eh?
tongue in cheek. He's having a laugh with everybody.
He's having a laugh.
Of course he is. Who do you think will win the Champions League?
Real Madrid, obviously.
Oh my goodness. You still got your season tickets, have you?
Yep. Still going. Gab, we were talking during the show about Mesut Ozil watching himself score a goal. Do you read your articles to your wife and your children when you're excited about them? Go, look, here we go.
Bedtime, maybe. Time for bed, kids. Let me read your
If you're
story.
particularly excited about an article you've written, do you make people read it?
No, but I certainly, Shaka's right. At bedtime, some of those financial fair play
Yes.
articles that Greg Burley enjoys so much. No, not really, no.
Would you watch yourself score
There's
goals?
work and then there's private life. They're two distinct things.
Like the boys were saying they'd never watch themselves back scoring. Would you?
No.
I would.
See, it's work. It's
You
work.
love it, don't
Yeah, he's all of it. It's work.
you? He loves it.
Playing football is work.
But look, there's you doing the thing, scoring the goal. Alas, this is something I'll never feel. How do you think Courtois is doing compared to Keylor Navas? What should Keylor's next step be? You love Keylor Navas?
I do love Keylor Navas. Steve brought up a good point. Spurs,
It's a bit of
I
a,
think, need a good.
that's a big step down, though, isn't it?
Well, any step down is a step down from Real
Any
Madrid.
step down is a step down.
No.
Any step away from Real Madrid is a step down. Where else? What other big clubs that are playing in Champions League need a goalkeeper?
I don't know.
Buzz.
He's not going to leave Madrid. He's been banging the drum to go back there for donkey's years. Why would he move?
To go back there.
What you talking about?
No, to go. He's been banging the drum to go back to Madrid.
He's in Madrid.
I know he's in Madrid, you dauber.
What are you talking about?
Courtois.
No, we're talking about Navas.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about Courtois.
He's been dying to go back there.
I'm like, we.
Right, let's just go back a little bit.
Let's step down.
Let's step down. Let's step down and go back a little bit.
He's got 3 Champions League medals in his pocket.
So why does he have to move there?
Why does he want to go back there?
Maybe he likes a bit of London life.
What's more important to you, Stevie?
Oh, no.
Lettuce?
Oh, no.
Lettuce or minced
cucumber?
potatoes?
Cucumber.
Winning the Champions League or winning the Premier League?
Winning the Premier League. Absolutely. What are you looking at me like that for?
I'm waiting for you to justify.
Well, Liverpool haven't won the Premier League, or what was then the First Division, since I was playing.
Wow.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
So in between the last time they won the Premier League, they've actually won the Champions League. So it would have to be the Premier League.
Well, we've had some calls about the vacant Ipswich job.
Really?
Is that something that you would be interested in?
No. have you seen the Ipswich Town squad?
But they need someone like you to come in to galvanise.
Inspiration.
Clean sweep.
Exactly.
Hold on then.
Get them all
Hold
out.
on then. Are you interested in the Real Madrid squad game?
Wait,
Brilliant. That won't work.
let's take a step down.
Well, you don't want the Ipswich job because the players are crap. So do you want the Real Madrid job?
Do you think I would leave you, Stephen, alone here?
Can you imagine them two coaching anybody? Anybody. That'd be
Hey,
great.
it's fun.
I could imagine.
And successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually was.
It wasn't a joke. That was me being nice.
Saying it actually was. Like you
Nobody
just
was
realised.
surprising us to.
We say, how the hell did we pull that off again?
I should tell me smoke and mirrors.
I'm not telling it. You tell it.
Come on.
Is it rude?
No.
Well, then
no.
say then.
So we were in the. We just played a game. We just won. And at the time, we didn't think we had a particularly good team. And
Right.
we were trying to figure out how we were winning all these games. And we didn't realise that Robert Kraft had walked into our coach's room and was in the toilets round the corner. So we were talking about how do we win this game, and he's turned around and went, you know what, this is, don't tell anybody about it. It's got to be smoke and mirrors. Right. Robert Kraft came round the corner and went, better not be. We were he come in.
The big gaffer's in the toilet.
Walked out. He's been like that. Better not be. Walked out. We were like that.
Hey, but it all worked out well in the end.
It all walked out well.
It did.
Yeah, we got a card shortly after.
You back with us tomorrow, Stevie?
Sorry?
You back with us tomorrow?
Unless you're going to give me my cards.
No.
Smoke and mirrors.
That would be a no.
It's the Classico tomorrow. No, it's not.
Hey,
Tomorrow.
We're talking about the Classico
Oh.
on tomorrow's show with Sid Lowe.
I'll come in then.
I'm not.
I'm going to come in.
I'm not.
Are
But
you?
Barcelona's going to win. There you
Well,
go.
there you go.
A Super Sunday in MLS, the Supporters' Shield up for grabs, some playoff spots as well, Paul
Yeah.
Mariner. Let's begin with Toronto against Atlanta United.
massive game. Toronto had a dreadful season. They put it down to the Champions League. I tend to agree with them, actually. They started the season way too early. The squad depth was poor. But they come up against an Atlanta side without Almiron, which slightly balances out a little bit, but not really. Atlanta defensively very solid. Going forward, electric. Atlanta will get it done.
With you on that one. Do you and Stevie Nicol fancy replacing Tata Martino?
Why not? Why not?
You're up for that?
Until the end of the season.
No. Next season, hat in the ring. Would you
No.
would you leave us? Would you
No.
leave the MLS predictor?
No.
There you go.
Not at
That's
all.
how important this is. Chicago Fire against the rampant
Yeah,
DC United.
well, it's the Rooney show, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. I mean, he has turned that club around incredibly well. He's just made it very simple. In training, simple. On the field, it's simple. He holds the ball up well so the runners can go. Very difficult to deal with. They get penalties, they get goals, they get set-piece goals. Too much for Chicago. Chicago have got the golf clubs out.
It's a bit like when the Giants won the Super Bowl in NFL. I think they got in via the wild card, but momentum is such
Yeah.
a big thing. They could
It
win this
always
whole
is
thing.
in
They could
Major
win
League
the whole
Soccer.
thing.
Always is.
Now, these two kind of need to win.
Yeah.
Columbus against Minnesota, who've got nothing to play for.
Yeah, I mean, in Columbus, if they falter, then Montreal could get in the East. They're playing the Revolution on Sunday. I can't see Columbus slipping up. Berhalter has got his boys firing. They'll be resolute. They're playing against the Minnesota side that are not the greatest. They concede goals for fun. Adrian Heath's done his best, but he needs to revamp that defensive situation. Columbus with the W.
Same for Galaxy.
Yeah, I feel since they won the US Open Cup, Houston Dynamo have sort of not so much down tools, but their season's over. They've got nothing to play for. I think Zlatan will be firing all cylinders at home. Big crowd, they'll win.
Red Bulls against bottom of the table Orlando City.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one outcome here. It's the Red Bulls are going to win. And obviously, if you look at it for the Supporters' Shield, Atlanta have got the harder task. This, to me, Orlando, he's sort of mixing with his players, trying to find out what he's got. You're absolutely spot on.
Are we? Oh, that was good. We've agreed on everything.
That's very rare with you and I.
If we're right. Super Sunday, all the action if you're in the States on ESPN and ESPNFC.com. Premier League predictor with the former Arsenal and other club striker Paul Mariner. Brighton Wolves to begin with.
We've got to be quick.
Under 3 minutes for this.
Draw.
Okay, I'm going to take Brighton.
Ooh.
Because I took a draw in rehearsal. And if we do it again, I'll take Wolves. Fulham Bournemouth.
Yeah, I like what Eddie Howe's done. He's stabilised the club, decent defensively, going forward, they can score goals. Fulham still trying to find their feet. I'm going with a Bournemouth away win.
Do you know what? There's only so long they'll get away with trying to find their feet. This is the game they need points from, games like this.
You're going for a Fulham win?
I'm going for a Fulham win, although Bournemouth up in the top 10 are doing pretty well right now.
Yeah.
No chance.
No chance. Okay,
Just press the button.
Okay.
How many, by the way?
Well, I said 3 in my predictor downstairs. It depends what team he plays.
We might need a new TV after all this banging. Southampton against Newcastle.
Massive game. This is incredible, tough game for both teams. I've gone for a draw.
I'm going to have to be right 1 week, because if they don't, I mean, they could be looking at Championship football, these two next season.
Yeah.
Watford against Huddersfield.
Huddersfield can't score goals. I think Watford will be hurting a little bit from previous results. I'm going with Watford.
What, hurting from a 2-0 win at Wolves last time out?
Well, they got spanked 4 the other week against...
That was before that.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Oh, still hurting.
It's still last.
Still sore. Never forget.
Leicester,
West Ham.
This is a bit of a puzzle, this. No Yarmolenko out with his Achilles rupture. Leicester was very poor last week at the Arsenal. I'm going with the draw.
They were all right in the first half. The problem is Jamie Vardy. If Vardy doesn't play, they're not the same team. So you'll take a draw. I'll take Leicester. You just never know what you're going to get with West Ham.
Correct.
That's the problem.
Correct.
Burnley against Chelsea.
Absolutely no contest. Chelsea flying. Probably Hazard won't play. It won't really matter. They'll still have enough to win.
Yeah, just. But it wouldn't surprise me if Burnley got a point.
So just as a win then?
Yeah, all right. It's like, well, he's just offside. Well, he's still offside. Okay, whatever. Palace. All right, shush. You're wearing denim with pinstripes. You've got
Nothing wrong with that.
Come on, son. Come on. Palace, Arsenal.
It's always a difficult place to go, but Arsenal, when he gets his decent team out, going forward, electric, too much for Palace.
Playing cliche bingo with Paul Mariner. We're already at 8 today. I think for your cliches. Always a difficult place to go, Selhurst Park.
It is, though.
Old Trafford, is that a difficult
So what
place?
else do you want me to say? Horrible place to get to if you're a supporter. What else do you want me to say?
Shush. Is Old Trafford a difficult place to go now?
No.
So do Everton get a win?
Not for Everton, no.
Okay.
Everton, there's no consistency with Everton. At least with United, you see glimmers. You see enough to get past Everton. Yeah, look, Juve was a different kettle of fish during the week. That was a very, very difficult game. I think they're going to have enough. At Old Trafford, United win.
Take a draw in that one, because I don't think they'll be frightened of going there. I'm still not sure about Richarlison as an attacker, though.
Okay.
Spurs, Man City, let's leave the best till last.
Well, obviously, Pochettino very upset with events against PSV. Certainly not firing all cylinders, conceding goals, Lloris making a bit of a mess. You cannot make mistakes against this team. Whether De Bruyne is in, whether it's Jesus up front, whether it's Aguero up front, it doesn't really matter. I think Man City have got way too much for Tottenham at the moment.
100% with you on that one. I'd take them over every team right now in the Premier League except Liverpool.
Ooh!
That's what we've got. I think it would be a draw, but that's for another week. That's our Premier League predictor for this week. Paul's away to change his denim shirt now. The Serie A predictor with Paul Mariner. Let's begin with Atalanta taking on Parma. What do you reckon?
Difficult game to predict. I'm not quite sure about this, but what I'm going to do, because it's at home, Atalanta at home, I'm going to take them at home. 5
goals at Chievo last week in Verona. They were decent, but Parma need to bounce back. I think that'll be a draw. Empoli against Juventus.
Do we really need to discuss this?
No. Milan, Sampdoria, live if you're in the US on ESPN at 1 o'clock Eastern.
Who's commentating?
Me and Matteo Bonetti.
Oh, there's a surprise.
Why?
I'm going to go with the home side. I just think that I feel that it just tips the balance in these games.
That's cutting edge analysis.
Absolutely, it is.
Paul Mariner. Napoli, Roma. They were awful against Spal, Roma, but bounced back in midweek in the Champions League.
Well, the one thing that Roma have got going for them is Dzeko. Can't stop scoring goals. I mean, he's surprised me when he moved from City. I thought it was absolutely remarkable. I didn't think he scored the goals that he did, the type of goals that he scores. So he's going to be a constant threat. But again, I just feel Napoli have just got enough to win at home.
You've got a soft spot for Roma, haven't you? Your boy,
Yes, I do.
Your boy James Pallotta
I do.
is there. I'll take Napoli as well. Love the way they're playing this season. Unlucky not to get all 3 points in Paris in midweek. Lazio against Milan. That's a good game. Sorry, Lazio against Inter.
Yeah. There's not really much I could... Look, I'm always leaning towards a draw with these games, but I just feel that they've just got a little bit more in the tank. I think they've got enough going forward, got enough goals.
I don't think you can underestimate the momentum they'll have got from that last night's derby win. I'll take a draw in that one. So we're kind of samey but different this week in our Serie A predictor for ESPNFC.com. Today's quintet in the transfer rater for Paul Mariner to get to. We'll begin with Marcos Rojo. Is he off to Turkey?
He's off somewhere because obviously he's not fitting in, whether it's centre half, whether it's at left back. Luke Shaw's coming to his own there.
Had you forgotten he was even there? Because it's possible that you're like, oh yeah, Rojo.
Not really. To be honest, I thought he was injured. But he hasn't made much of an impact, has he? Let's be fair.
No, he's not.
You know, defensively, he dives in. He's not ideal. I think this is a hit. I think he wants a fresh challenge.
Chucky, what was your nickname when you were playing?
Paul.
That's terrific.
PM.
Chucky PM.
I love this lad.
Super, isn't he?
He's fantastic. He's all energy. I think he fits into Sarri's system, the way that he wants to play the game. He's just a joy to watch. He always wants the ball. He makes decent passes. He gets on the end of things. I like this kid. I think he'd be a fantastic addition to Chelsea.
It'd be fun. Now, you'd have to get rid of some players. Fabregas,
I mean,
Galatasaray.
Yeah, the thing is with Cesc, it sort of it catches up with all of us, right? Look, when he first came at the Arsenal side early on, he was amazing football and has had an incredible career. His passing, his vision on the ball is absolutely second to none. I think the Premier League is a little bit too much for him, especially the way that Sarri wants to play. Can they generate some money? Yes, they can. Cesc, get yourself out there, mate. Get yourself on the go.
3 for 3. Can we get 4 for 4?
No.
Why not?
No. Tottenham, what have they got? A 14-man squad, 13-man squad. They haven't bought in the summer. They find it difficult now in the Champions League and the Premier League. Why would you sell your most creative player? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Since when did sense and football go hand in hand?
Well, look, if he leaves now or in the window, forget it. They're not making the top 4. No way, anywhere near it.
This guy's been one of the... I say guy. I don't even know if he's old enough to be called a guy yet. He's been one of the success stories of the season.
He has, and I think he should stay where he is. Yeah. I think he's in a fantastic environment.
He's getting game time. He wouldn't get that at City again.
Exactly.
Because he's already been there, and now he's gone to them. They've got first refusal, but...
Confidence is sky high. He's in that environment. He's getting playing time from the coach. He's in this system, very fluid system. It suits him down to the ground. Stay where you are and learn your trade a little bit more.
Listen to him. He does know what he's talking about. He's been around a bit and he's achieved quite a bit. So if you're listening, Jayden, stay where you are. The big game of the week in Spain, the big game of the season is the Clásico. However, for our fantasy picks, I'm not going to go with some of the big guns for this one. I'm going to go with Antoine Griezmann as my Tier 1 forward and captain. Atleti at home to Sociedad. That will do me. Celta Vigo at home to Eibar. Maxi Gomez as my Tier 2 forward. Then we start with El Clásico. I'm going to go with 3 Barcelona players. Felipe Coutinho, Jordi Alba and Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Ever Banega, Sevilla at home to Huesca. I like that fixture for him. Talented player as well. Jose Campaña of Levante has scored plenty points this season. He'll do at home to Leganés, and Aritz Elizondo with Sociedad at Atletico Madrid. It's a tough one for him, but you do get points for clearances and all sorts defensively. So it's not just a case of picking the big names. That's why we've gone with an array and an eclectic selection of players for this week's La Liga FC Fantasy. Back to Premier League action this weekend after the midweek European fixtures. Our main man, our captain, is pretty much the same every week. For me, anyway, Mohamed Salah. A lot of people have deviated from him because he wasn't hitting the heights that he hit last year. Don't. Stick with him. Liverpool at home to Cardiff. Make him your captain. Jamie Vardy's an interesting one because he's not been feeling well this week. If he plays against West Ham, get him in your lineup. Eden Hazard, big fan of him again. If he plays, which he will, he should be your tier 1 midfielder. James Maddison, if Vardy doesn't play for Leicester, does that mean we'll see more of Maddison or less? I still think we'll see plenty of him at home to West Ham. Ryan Sessegnon is our tier 3 midfielder. I don't like it when he plays at left back from an attacking perspective, but at home to Bournemouth, I would expect him to be among the points scorers. Andrew Robertson is a plug and play. Ricardo Pereira has been played out of position a lot this season, a little bit further forward. He will do for us for Leicester against West Ham. And we will end with Ederson, Manchester City. I think he'll be busy at Wembley against Spurs. I also think he will come up with a win bonus as well. That'll do us for our Premier League picks for this week's ESPN FC Fantasy.